Well, look at it this way, honey. This is a part of America we never get to see.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 most dangerous cities in the U.S. to live.
We need healing, but without resources, we're just not achieving that to meet our expectations.
For this list, we're basing our ranking on a report conducted by financial news and opinion website 24/7 Wall Street, using data from the FBI's 2018 Uniform Crime Report. Do you live in any of these cities? Is it as bad as they say? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe the Music City isn't so friendly after all.
All roads lead to Nashville, you're never far away. All roads lead to Nashville, Music City, USA.
In 2018, Nashville reported 7,641 violent crimes, or about 20 acts of violence per day. 2/3 of those were aggravated assaults, cases of which went up 23% the following year. The city's violent crime rate of 1,113 per 100,000 people is triple the national average.
Raise their prices at will, adding to an already staggering profit. But tell the little Philly.
Also triple the national average is the city's homicide and manslaughter rate. In 2017, Nashville's rate was 16.29 per 100,000, whereas the national average was just 5.3. In 2018, Nashville reported 91 homicides. The high crime rate may be linked to the city's poverty rate, which sits at around 17%. Number 19, New Orleans, Louisiana. The Big Easy is generally seen as a thriving city. It's home to Mardi Gras, boasts some of the country's best jazz, and its architecture and food are nationally distinct.
I like New Orleans.
I like New Orleans too.
But make no mistake, there is a seedy underbelly lying beneath that welcoming surface. The impoverished neighborhoods of the city can be very violent, and New Orleans has battled high homicide rates since the 70s. In fact, for many years, New Orleans was considered the murder capital of the United States. The city suffered 147 homicides in 2018, and its rate of 37 homicides per 100,000 people is 5th among mid to large American cities. Number 18, Wichita, Kansas. Legendary frontiersman Wyatt Earp once enforced the law in Wichita.
Wyatt Earp, huh? Heard of you.
Listen now, Mr. Kansas law dog. Law don't go around here. Savvy?
I'm retired.
Good. That's real good.
It seems like the city could use his eye for justice today. Wichita's violent crime rate is well above both the national and state average. As of 2018, its rate sits at 1,179 per 100,000 people, which is the 18th highest in the country.
It's your sister. That's my gun. Hello?
Bummer. Let's step away from the vehicle.
Its homicide rate has also been going up in recent years, and it reached a 10-year high in 2018 when it hit 9.7 per 100,000. Perhaps most shocking is the city's assault rate, which has climbed steadily since 2000. Then, its rate was 376 per 100,000. By 2019, it was triple that, at 919 per 100,000. Number 17, Indianapolis, Indiana. Most of the crime in Indianapolis stems from gun use, prompting local officials to launch various buyback programs throughout the city.
Police says enough is enough. The gun violence has to stop.
The city has put in numerous resources to help our agency and help the community, and we're hoping that this year it works.
Indianapolis is quite a poor city with a poverty rate of over 20%. Perhaps this has led to its high rate of violent crime, which is about triple the national average at 1,273 per 100,000 people. Leading the pack is the city's soaring homicide rate.
That's our top priority, is gun violence and reducing violent crime. However, it's extremely important that we continue to partner with the community. That's so major. We're not able to do this alone.
Homicides have been rising steadily since 2011, which was the city's most peaceful year of the 21st century. 2018 was Indianapolis's most violent year yet, complete with 162 homicides and a rate of 18.5 per 100,000 people. Number 16, Oakland, California. Oakland harbors a violent crime rate of 1,273 per 100,000 people, making it the 16th most violent city in the country.
Brian, neighbors are tired of living in fear. In the short term, they want to see more police patrols and traffic calming measures to deter some shootings around that intersection.
However, this is actually down from its historic 21st century high of 1,993, which it achieved in 2012. Perhaps this is due to the implementation of Operation Ceasefire, an initiative meant to curb the rising swell of youth gun violence and gang activity.
In California, the Oakland police chief summed it up by simply saying it's out of control.
One of the main problems in Oakland is its robbery rate, possibly a byproduct of the area's sky-high housing prices and cost of living. In 2018, Oakland had a robbery rate of 610 per 100,000 people, which is second highest in the entire country and 7 times the national average of 86. Number 15. Anchorage, Alaska. Nestled far away from the rest of the country is the chilly city of Anchorage.
This is Alaska. This is Alaska.
The city may seem desirable owing to its remoteness and gorgeous vistas, but it's more than the dreary winters that the residents have to fear. Anchorage has the 15th highest violent crime rate in the country, sitting at 1,309 per 100,000 as of 2018. Unfortunately, Anchorage has long been a hotspot of violent sexual assault.
The numbers would suggest that Alaska is a dangerous state for women.
A study in 2016 actually found it the most dangerous state in America, and I think it is particularly for women in rural areas where law enforcement isn't readily accessible.
2018 reported a staggeringly high rate of sexual assaults in the city, with 210 per 100,000. This is about 5 times the national average and the highest rate in the entire country for major cities. Number 14. Springfield, Missouri. For such a nondescript city, Springfield harbors a major crime problem. Known by many nicknames, including the birthplace of Route 66, Springfield has a population of just 169,000. However, this small population is rife with sexual assault and property crime.
Springfield is getting national recognition, but it's not for a good reason. A report put the city at number 10 on a list of dangerous mid-sized cities. Not a surprise to some people.
Its violent crime rate has been soaring throughout the 21st century. The 2018 rate of 1,316 per 100,000 is about double what it was in 2000. Unfortunately, 2019 was even worse. Driving the high rates are the city's property crimes.
This area is private property. Police say it's illegal for individuals to camp here, but advocates say there's nowhere else for them to go.
Burglary is rampant throughout Springfield, and its staggering rate of 7,019 per 100,000 is the second highest in the entire United States. Number 13. San Bernardino, California. Despite a population of just 222,000, San Bernardino is one of the state's most violent cities. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, San Bernardino has the second highest poverty rate in the entire country.
So here we are, 18 months later, with the community justifiably angry about the city's condition and the failure of leadership to address the fiscal crisis.
Indeed, it hovers around 30%, and its unemployment rate is around 5%. For decades, the violent crime rate in San Bernardino has been well above the national average.
Now, we're told the gang sweep targeted a total of 35 members, of which 24 were arrested during the raid.
In 2018, it hit 1,333 per 100,000 people, or about 3.5 times the national average. 2017 was the city's worst year of the century for sexual assaults, with a rate of 72 per 100,000. Number 12, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Maybe there was something to Breaking Bad's depiction of Albuquerque.
Let me get this straight. I steal your dope. I beat the piss out of your mule boy. And then you walk in here and you bring me more, man?
While a gorgeous city, Albuquerque has another side. The area's aggravated assault rate is 3 times the national average. And Albuquerque places 6th in the entire country when it comes to poverty crimes. In 2018, it had a rate of 6,179 property crimes per every 100,000 people. Furthermore, the city has a serious problem with robbery.
The search for answers as law enforcement agencies work to determine what led to a handful of recent bank robberies.
In 2018, it quadrupled the national average rate with 353 incidents per 100,000. And that was an improvement over the prior year. 2017 saw a staggering robbery rate of 521 per 100,000, which was over 5 times the national average. Number 11, Rockford, Illinois. The largest city in Illinois outside of the greater Chicago area, Rockford is also the most dangerous.
The senseless shootings and murders have got to stop.
In 2018, its violent crime rate sat at 1,386 per 100,000 people, with 3/4 of those incidents being aggravated assaults. And that was down from the city's worst year on record, which was 2016. Then, the city saw a violent crime rate of 1,658 per 100,000.
We now know that 4 people have been shot here on Independence Avenue. It's still a very active scene. I'm going to step out of the way so you could take a look at it. 2 of those victims are badly hurt with serious injuries.
Rockford's burglary and property crime rates have been falling for years, but the aggravated assault cases only started following this trend in 2018. Number 10, Stockton, California. Built to service the California gold rush in the 1800s, Stockton was another city to implement Operation Ceasefire, the same incentive that helped quell Oakland's high rate of crime. In 2012, Stockton reported 23.7 homicides per 100,000 people, which was almost 5 times the national average of 4.7.
Many people in Stockton will tell you that gangs are to blame for the city's history of violence. Others argue gangs are only part of the problem.
Its homicide rate has fallen in recent years, but Stockton is still reporting high crime numbers, especially in the fields of robbery and aggravated assault. In fact, Stockton is currently the most dangerous city in California, with a violent crime rate of nearly 1,400 per 100,000 people.
The current rate of violent crime in Stockton is alarming when you compare it to years past.
The city's 2019 assault rate of 959 per 100,000 was over 3.5 times the national average. Number 9, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee is one of the poorest cities in the United States. It's estimated that thousands of homeless live on the cold streets of the city, and its poverty rate of nearly 30% is one of the highest in the country.
Our mission is eradicating poverty, helping people move beyond.
This is accompanied by a gritty and violent criminal world. Its violent crime rate of 1,413 per 100,000 places it 9th in the country. And in 2020, the city broke its own homicide record with 189 deaths.
From Friday to Sunday evening, there have been a total of 4 fatal shootings throughout Milwaukee, a scatter of crimes that is sadly becoming far too familiar.
Milwaukee's aggravated assault and sexual assault rates have been rising throughout the 21st century, with 2018 being one of the worst years on record for both. Number 8, Little Rock, Arkansas. Serving as the main commercial hub for Arkansas, Little Rock has battled high homicide rates for decades.
This week, the city distributed $1.5 million to 11 nonprofits in the capital city, hoping to stop those violent crime numbers from growing. Well, now the work begins.
Ever since the late 80s, Little Rock has faced a reputation for being one of the most dangerous cities in the country. In 2018, Little Rock had a violent crime rate of 1,446 per 100,000 people, which is about quadruple the national average.
In 2020, U.S. crimes stayed down near record lows. But in Arkansas, violence spiked to the highest level in recent decades.
Crime actually has been falling in Little Rock in the 21st century, with robberies and burglaries regressing steeply. However, the city suffers from a high property crime rate, and its 2018 rate was the 3rd highest in the entire country. Number 7, Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland has always battled its reputation as a grimy industrial city.
Attention foreman. Trouble on bench 5. Check on the nut tightners. Nuts coming through loose on bench 5. Attention foreman.
Unfortunately, its high rate of crime doesn't help. Cleveland has a huge poverty problem, with a 35% poverty rate and a median household income of just shy of $31,000. It also has a high violent crime rate, the 7th highest in the country in 2018. At 1,449 per 100,000, its rate was nearly 4 times that of the national average.
Calls for police responding to violence in Cleveland, keeping officers and detectives busy, especially this week. We are seeing scenes like this play out all over the city.
The city's aggravated assault rates have risen steadily since 2014, when it sat at a decade's low 425 per 100,000. Cleveland managed to double that in just 5 years. 2019 was the city's most violent year in 2 decades, with an assault rate of 870 per 100,000. Number 6, Kansas City, Missouri. Much of the violent crime reported in Kansas City comes from the East Side, as the downtown area has undergone quite a successful revitalization in recent years. Unfortunately, the city in general still harbors a staggeringly high crime rate of 1,590 per 100,000.
It's this violence, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas stresses, needs to have a new approach on how to combat it.
That's why we're looking to work on community policing, working in our neighborhoods.
In a city of just 500,000 people, Kansas City reported over 7,800 violent crimes in 2018. Kansas City's assault and homicide rates have been rising steadily since 2015. In 2018, the city experienced 137 homicides and a rate of 27.8 per 100,000 people, which is nearly 6 times the national average of 5.
What happens is Kansas City is so large, but all the problems are identical. They are the same between the substance abuse, the mental health, the domestic violence, the crime. I mean, it's just been an escalation in all areas.
Number 5, St. Louis, Missouri. For years, St. Louis has been the homicide capital of the United States. In fact, when based solely on homicide rates, St. Louis is the 13th most dangerous city in the entire world.
So far this year, homicides in St. Louis are up 40% over this time last year.
The homicide rate has been rising steadily since its 21st century low in 2003. As of 2018, St. Louis is statistically the most deadly city in the United States when adjusted for population. In 2020, St. Louis reported 263 homicides, which is astonishing considering its population is just 300,000.
Fear and crime run high downtown, pushing businesses, tourists, and families out.
That's a homicide rate of 87 per 100,000 people, about 17 times the national average. Number 4, Baltimore, Maryland. This city in Maryland has long endured a bad reputation. For many, its name is synonymous with grungy neighborhoods, poverty, and violence. Baltimore suffered its worst year of the 21st century and its second worst year on record in 2019.
Do you feel safe? No. No, I don't. We all got to stick together at the end of the day and stop killing each other.
The city finished the year with 348 homicides, with a rate of 58 per 100,000, about 12 times the national average. This was only narrowly beaten by 1993, which saw 353 killings. However, the city's population was just 736,000 in 1990 and just 585,000 now, meaning the rate is worse when adjusted for population.
I think that we need to, as a city, and just as a state as a whole, we really need to put our minds together and collaborate towards becoming better.
Also of note are the city's rampant robberies. Baltimore's robbery rate in 2018 was the worst in the country at 837 per 100,000. Number 3, Birmingham, Alabama. Like many cities, most of Birmingham's problems stem from economics, as the city has a poverty rate of 28%. In 2018, Birmingham's violent crime rate hit 1,911 per 100,000, which is more than 5 times the national average.
Well, this morning we are following developing news in Birmingham. Police investigating 6 homicides in less than 48 hours.
It is just one of 3 cities in America to have that distinction. Most of those crimes stem from aggravated assault, although the homicide rate is also high.
We can't become numb or start being numb to the violence.
In 2018, Birmingham reported 88 homicides for a rate of about 42 per 100,000, making it the 3rd deadliest city in the country, behind St. Louis and Baltimore. Number 2, Memphis, Tennessee. In 2018, Memphis had a violent crime rate of 1,943 per 100,000 people. This makes it the 2nd most dangerous city in the entire country and the most dangerous in the South. Following a dip in criminal activity throughout the early 2010s, Memphis is now at a record not seen since 2006.
Flashing lights, sirens, and crime scenes have become an unfortunate daily occurrence in the city of Memphis.
Serious crimes are on the rise, with sexual assault rates nearly doubling between 2008 and 2017. The city's homicide rate has been especially troubling in recent years, having risen from 13 per 100,000 in 2010 to 30 per 100,000 in 2016. Memphis beat its own record in 2021 with a disconcerting 342 homicides.
Now moving to a crime alert, as Memphis sees a record-breaking year of violence, the police department says they've solved more than half of the city's homicide, yet there are still many families looking for answers.
This is on par with Baltimore, as both cities have similar homicide and population numbers.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has never been the same since manufacturing left the city in the mid-20th century. Suffice to say, Detroit deserves its reputation. The city has a shocking 38% poverty rate, and nearly 10% of its entire population is unemployed.
11th Precinct crime is spiking up, but DPD is flooding more officers here trying to get more illegal guns off the street.
Detroit was also the only city in 2018 to report a violent crime rate of over 2,000 per 100,000 people. That same year saw 13,500 violent crimes in a population of 640,000. Detroit's homicide rate is also high, hitting 54 per 100,000 in 2012, putting it on course with Baltimore.
It's going to take, the police and the prosecutor's office and the courts and the community and the clergy and to get us where we need to be and not accepting crime as a way of life.
Luckily, the homicide rate has fallen since then, but only to 41.4.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.